Yeah, I think that's what comedy is, right? Is like it's a way for us to, I think, deal with and process kind of darker things and to be able to not get so pulled down by like the darkness of life sometimes. So yeah, that's why.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to TALNT Cast. I'm Carlos. I'm co hosting with Fatima for this episode. So, today we're highlighting Chock Full Until Empty, a unique project and the recipient of the Filmmaker Assistance Grant number 11. Joining me is the film's director, Efe Kabba, who will share more about the inspiration behind the story, the creative process, and what this recognition means for the project. So, welcome, Efe. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
This is so exciting. Very, very excited to be back as well. Thank you, Carlos, for the lovely introduction. Yeah, like Carlos said, we're very excited to get into a little bit of background details and some insights into the project itself. But before we get into all of the nitty gritty, why don't you give us a quick introduction of yourself, and then a quick kind of log line about the project as well.
Yeah, so I'm Efe, and I'm a writer, director, and producer. My background is in production, and I've kind of produced all kinds of things from commercials to a feature to a talk show. But as I was kind of moving, I started as a PA, but as I was kind of moving up the ranks, I always knew deep down that I was a creative, just because I've been writing and creating in different mediums for most of my life. And so I went back to get an MFA in filmmaking at NYU Tisch. And so I'm kind of a recent graduate, I guess. I graduated a couple years ago. Yeah. And Chock Full Until Empty was actually my thesis film. But I didn't finish it because, as I'll probably go into later, it's a pretty ambitious project for a short film. So I conceived it while I was in grad school, and was able to only shoot part of it because of the resources that I had. And also, lots of things went wrong, as happens a lot of times in production. So I kind of had to, regroup and take some time to try and raise more money, and also in the meantime continue to just grow as an artist. So yeah, it's a little bit of my background, and the film itself is a coming of age film. It's kind of like a darkly comedic drama. And it's a deeply personal story. It was like a way for me to kind of deal or like make sense of like a childhood experience as an adult. So in a lot of the main character is based on me and my experience. And so basically the log line is an angsty 13-year-old who's struggling with her body image, basically schemes how to get rid of her estranged aunt who just recently came to live with their family, and they really don't get along. And so basically throughout the film, she's kind of like figuring out how to make her not want to be there anymore. So that's like the story itself, but thematically, it's also about addiction, because as we kind of learn throughout the film, they're both struggling with their own addictive behaviors, in order to kind of numb the pain that they're not able to really deal with. So I was just really, for me, it was really interesting to, look at two characters like who are kind of mirrors for each other, who are experiencing something very similar secretly, but kind of don't clash. And so it's this kind of thing where maybe you see something in someone else that you don't like about yourself, but they're both not consciously aware of it. And so the story is kind of about both of them in a subtle way. I won't give it like the whole story away, but in a subtle way, kind of coming to like better understand each other a little bit more.
Yeah.
This film does tackle with the binge eating, addiction, mental health, but with humor. So why was it important to tell this story through dark comedy instead of just a straight drama? Was it your first instinct, like, yeah, dark comedy? Or it started like a drama and then, no, okay, maybe we can start doing some humor? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think that's just the way I tend to see the world is through humor. And my past films, which have yet to be released, but will probably hopefully be released either later this year or next year. Even when I'm dealing with kind of like serious subjects, it's always kind of funny. Like, it's just like, I think that's just the way I write. I've yet to like make a straight drama, like, not to say that I never will, but I think I tend to be drawn towards drama that doesn't take itself too seriously and has moments of levity. And just as a director, as like, I've been lucky to have like, to be in the audience where people were watching my films, and it's just like the best feeling to have people laugh at what I wrote, honestly. And yeah, I think that's what comedy is, right? Is like, it's a way for us to, I think, deal with and process kind of darker things, and to be able to not get so pulled down by like the darkness of life sometimes. So yeah, that's why.
Efe, I really connect to what you're saying. It was something that kind of stood out to me almost as a present sub-theme in a way, in the choices of like using maybe a more nostalgic filmy kind of style, using that yellowy orange color as well, being so close. Like, I saw some of the compositions in the pitch, just like super close-ups, and it's so intimate, and I'm getting goosebumps just remembering it. It felt like you were inviting us in. And then you kind of so bravely also saying that this is a personal story in a way, and it is coming from such a personal root. It felt like you were inviting us into this whole experience that is very universal. Relationship with food is something I also relate to. It's not
Yeah.
easy. It's not easy to talk about either.
Mhm.
You just did it, and I know this is not even the final product yet, but you just did it in such a welcoming way that I didn't feel for a second that this was about to be kind of like a story about overcoming difficulties. I mean, it is, but it's just in such a down to earth way. It felt very possible. It gave me
Yeah.
hope by
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm glad that even just from what you've seen, you're getting that, because that is the experience that I want the audience to have. Like, I feel like this, especially like binge eating, like, I feel like there's a lot of shame that
Yeah.
is like, it's shrouded in shame, and a lot of people, I feel like, disordered eating, like, I don't know, from what I've seen, I feel like anorexia tends to get a little bit more attention, but not even that much. I still feel like it's kind of like a taboo subject in a lot of ways, and I want to, what you call it, like the invitingness of it, like, I want to bring people closer into it, not like this thing that we have to kind of shun or whatever. And like, for me too, it was really hard for me to talk about it, and honestly, I do feel like making this film has been part of my journey to be able to like heal that shame. And now I feel like because I'm like bearing myself in this way, and I'm making it clear that it is based on like personal experience. Yeah, I truly just want, I think what I want in this film is for people to, because I'm not trying to like, even in the film, it's not like everything gets resolved. I mean, it's also a short, like, but how the film ends, like, I want there to be hope. Like I like it's left off with this. At least that's how I want people to feel at the end, is this feeling of hope.
Yeah, yeah. And it's honestly incredible. And honestly, kudos to you as well, because we have on the one side, um, the struggle with food and the relationship with food. There's also the struggle with addiction, and how kind of at the end of the day, even the relationship with food has kind of roots in addiction as well. We kind of, they are
Yeah.
connected in that way. And I find it so incredible the way that you were able to kind of use the difference in age. You have someone who's coming of age, they're 12 to 13, but also 50 something, and they're both sharing something so primal at such different stages of their lives. How did you come to that decision?
So as I mentioned, like this is based on like it's not exactly, and like the characters aren't exactly, like it's not like a completely autobiographical story, but the aunt character in the film is based on my great aunt, who came to live with our family when I was around that age. So to make it wasn't like a conscious choice to be like, oh, there needs to be a generational difference. It really, but I think like, what's the saying? Like art imitates life. I think there's something significant in my own coming of age to have had that experience with like an older relative who was estranged, basically. Like we did, like my family was estranged for many, many, many years. So I didn't know her. So she was basically a stranger. And so it's like this experience of like having a stranger just come live with you, and then automatically they are your like guardian, or I don't know, they have this like power over you, because ultimately there is also like a power struggle. Like a lot of the film is about this power struggle between the two characters, because it's this kind of like feisty, angsty 13-year-old who is very independent and has had to, because she also has a younger sister in the film. And so she's had to grow up fast, and she takes care of her sister, like while her parents are working. And then to have this adult figure kind of come into your life, it really does disrupt like the status quo. But from like an artistic perspective, I think it works out perfectly, because what you're saying, it's like, so to have this like intergeneration or multi-generational relationship, like this mirroring of the two characters does show that it is like a universal experience. And in a lot of ways, Fumi, the aunt character, she's also, it's like almost, I mean, she's not the protagonist of the story. Like the film is through B, who's the main character. It's through her perspective. But in a lot of ways, Fumi, who's in her 50s, is also coming of age in a way. Like she's still trying to figure out her life too. Yeah, I'm excited to like explore both of their stories like even further.
One question, because I think one of the unique aspects of the film is also the unique characters. But what about like B, the main character, has these evil emo doppelganger. Can you tell me more about this character? What is
Exciting.
how you approach it?
I tend to like try and figure out like visual ways to communicate a character's inner world that are not just their facial expressions or their behavior. I mean, that's of course that's still a part of it. So there is, I don't know if you're familiar, the idea of like the shadow, the id, like this part of ourselves.
That was exactly the question I wanted to ask, if that was kind of the influence.
Yeah, 100%. It's these parts of ourselves that we suppress, or are not even conscious of. And a lot of the times it can tend to be kind of like the darker, denser emotions and impulses. And so I was like, I don't even remember how the idea came to me, but I just like, it just thought it like seemed interesting to explore basically like this doppelganger as like an outward reflection of like what she was actually feeling but didn't want to express or couldn't express, because it's dark, it's like kind of, it's like violent, it's mean, it's um basically it's her imagination. And in the film, the doppelganger kind of shows up in different ways. Like she shows up in TV, she shows up in like like billboards, like out in the street. She also shows up kind of like more as like a human being in the, I mean, it's still her imagination. So yeah, I just like, especially in this, and this film starts out, I mean, I shared the script. The film starts out with literally her eating and like binging TikTok, basically. Um, and so I just think it's interesting, like, in this world where so many of us are just like saturated with
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
media, like the internet, film, TV. So I just thought it'd be interesting for like her imagination to kind of also be like reflected in that world too.
Mhm. Rooting it back to DCP itself. First of all, how did
Mhm.
you find out about it?
I had heard about DCP, I think a few years ago. Like I distinctly remember going on the platform, but at that time, like I think I might maybe have read an article about it or something.
Mm.
Fast forward until this year, or like a couple months ago, then my friend sent me another grant, and I went to Instagram, like someone's page, and they had posted about the Filmmaker Assistance Grant, and so that's how I found out about it. Yeah.
Nice. How do you feel like this grant will help you with what's coming with the movie?
Oh yeah, oh my God, I'm currently in the fundraising process.
Mhm.
So I'm currently fundraising to get us to the budget that we need. And yeah, the grant, like it's probably just, we have this house location that we have already that we're probably gonna have to be in there for 3 days, like, because there's a lot of production design involved. So we're probably gonna need a day of prep and then a couple shoot days. So the grant will help cover that, for example, which is huge. But so yeah, but I'm still, fundraise, like I'm still trying to figure out creative ways to come up with the rest of the money.
I am
Amazing.
100% sure that you're going to get to finish this film one way or another, and that you're going to be able to make the future film. I'm 100% sure because you're a very successful filmmaker. I think it shows, and I'm also myself. I want to get into film, and I would love to hear from you, but also you share to all your fellow filmmakers any advice for people who want to get into this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice, like, is perseverance. Like, I think they say a lot of the people who quote unquote make it or whatever is just like continuing to go forward regardless of failure or like getting discouraged. Really, like anytime you fall, getting back up again. And because yeah, it's like, this is, in my opinion, this is one of the hardest like art forms, like it just really takes so many resources, so many people. And so I think, yeah, a lot of people just give up, because the going gets tough. But I think I was someone who submitted on the Sofia Coppola grant, because I was looking through those films too. I think I watched someone's pitch video and she said filmmaking is the greatest like team sport or something. And I was like, yeah, totally. So yeah, I think having to, well, first of all, and I think perseverance takes truly knowing yourself and being sure and aligned that this is what you want to do with your life. And everyone has a different path. Like there's some people who filmmaking becomes a career, and then there are other people who just kind of like have a day job for the rest of their life and also kind of make films on the side. So specifically, I think for people who want this to be their career, it takes perseverance.
We need people like you. We need filmmakers that have this perseverance, that have this successful mentality. So I'm very grateful for your presence. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us your time and for sharing so much and for giving me the space as well to share.
Yeah, so I think the mission of DCP is really great. And I would say if you're considering submitting, really try to give the reviewers as much as you can, because I think there's some people who kind of only fill out the synopsis, but you really want people who don't know you and who don't know the project to be transported into your vision. And so regardless of where you are in the process of your project, I think it's really helpful to at least have some like visual document, like a lookbook, submit a script or even like an excerpt of a script if you don't want to like give everything away. I personally only submitted an excerpt because I want there to be some mystery and want people to actually watch the film when it's done. And also, of course, the pitch video. I mentioned that I was looking through some of the Sofia Coppola Award submissions, and it's just when you see someone actually talking about their film and like why it's important to them, why it needs to be made, like that human connection is why we make films, right? And so I think it's really, really helpful. It'll make your submission a lot more powerful if you submit like a personal pitch. And yeah, but it was honestly a great experience. It was cool to kind of get emails from people I don't know who were like reviewing my project, and to see that people were connecting with it. So it was kind of a really great experience.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
That's very important information. Thank you very, very much.